What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing a really fun video, something I haven't done on my channel in a really long time. Probably about 2 years ago, I filmed a video where I took the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette and I used that palette to complete my full face of makeup. So not only did I use it on my eyes, obviously, but I also used it as like my bronzer, my contour, my blush, my brows, etc, etc. I also have done it with the Tarte, what's it called? The Tartelette and Bloom palette, one of my favorites. I wanted to do another one today with the Urban Decay Born to Run palette. Now it's really funny because I initially wanted to do this with the Urban Decay Naked Cherry palette, but I asked you guys on Twitter and on Instagram if you wanted to see me use the palette, and I got a pretty lukewarm response on that palette. I just don't feel like people are very excited about it, and to be honest with you, I'm not super excited about it either, and I hate to say it, but I don't know, I'm just sort of over like the super warm palettes. It's been overdone. We've seen it a trillion times, and the palette is pretty. It's just nothing that really excites me. So I decided instead to do it with the Urban Decay Born to Run because you guys know, or you probably already know, that I love this palette. This is probably my current favorite go-to palette. I think this is honestly the best palette that Urban Decay has ever come out with, and the reason why I think it's so amazing is because of its versatility, as I'm literally going to be using this for my whole entire face, including my foundation, which should be really interesting, so wish me luck on that one. So I really hope that you guys are going to enjoy today's video and find it helpful and entertaining, and hopefully it'll inspire you to use your palettes in a little bit of a different way. Let's zoom you guys in and let's get started. So I really wanted to emphasize the fact that a powder is a powder. A powder can literally be used all throughout the face. Of course, there are different powder formulations that work better as like blushes than eyeshadows, and vice versa, but at the end of the day, a powder really is a powder, and so that means an eyeshadow doesn't just have to be an eyeshadow, and I really wanted to showcase that in today's video. That's like really the whole point. So like I said, I want to actually use the eyeshadows in here as my foundation, because as I was looking through all these colors before starting this video, I noticed this one right over here called Weekender, and I noticed that it's actually pretty close to my skin tone. And I do have a trick on how to create foundation with a powder, so I figured I would show that to you guys today. Of course, this is probably not going to give me the most amazing finish, but if you're in a pinch and you maybe forgot your foundation and you only have an eyeshadow palette, and perhaps it's the Urban Decay Born to Run, I want to show you that you don't have to freak out. You could actually make a foundation with just your moisturizer and a little bit of powder. So this is how you do it. So I'm taking my Kiehl's Glow Formula Skin Hydrator. You could also just take like a normal moisturizer. I'm taking this one in particular because this product, it's a moisturizer, but it also has a little bit of a glow to it. I'm somebody who prefers a little bit of a glow. Most of you know that. So I thought that just, you know, mixing this with the powder would give a nice little finish. So I put 2 pumps of that on the back of my hand. Now I'm going to just take my little brush and I'm going to scrape some of the eyeshadow so that it becomes loose. I'm going to dump it into the little mixture on my hand. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to mix it together, and this is essentially going to create sort of like a tinted product. Now I know that the Glow formula from Kiehl's looks like it's already tinted, but it's not. It has absolutely no color to it. I don't want you guys to think that I'm cheating, because I promise you I'm not. And that is what it looks like. A little bit dark, but hopefully it'll be sheer enough that it's not going to look crazy. Now I'm going to just, I'm really hoping that this is just gonna blend out into like a sheer tan color, because that doesn't match me in the slightest. Off to a good start. I'm gonna take my little Sigma Flat Kabuki F80. I'm just gonna start to buff this in. Okay, it's sheer enough. This is not gonna give me a ton of coverage, but it's just gonna give me enough. I don't like a lot of coverage anyway, so it's not a bad thing. This could also be done, by the way, if you have a foundation that's a little bit too light. You could scrape off a little bit of bronzer and put it in your foundation, and it will darken it just a little bit, make it a little bit more bronzy. So that's another little tip and trick. So this is definitely not a full coverage look at all. It blended out into my skin nicely though. The finish actually, it's not half bad. Like the finish looks pretty good. It looks like I'm wearing matte face and body on my face right now. Guys, that actually worked. This is so exciting. Now let's make some concealer. Again, I want to use just a normal moisturizer, so I'm just gonna take this Sisley moisturizer that I have sitting here. It does not have to be this moisturizer. Obviously, this is just what I have sitting on my little desk. And then I'm going to scrape off a little bit more of Weekender, like the tiniest bit, and also a little bit of breakaway. It's maybe a little problematic because breakaway does have a bit of a sheen to it, but I think that could be pretty underneath the eyes. I do like a good dewy under eye look. Made it pretty much like a skin tone color. It's nice and light, and I feel like this is gonna be very illuminating. This may not work. I may just have to put on actual concealer, but let's see. It's very moisturizing. You know what? That may have given me a little bit of coverage. I gotta say though, for like an everyday type of look, this concealer foundation combo really is not half bad, but because I want to do a bit more of like a smokier look today, I want it to be just a little bit more dramatic. I don't want my under eyes to look, you know, half baked, you know what I mean? So I'm just gonna go in with a little bit of my Bare Minerals Bare Skin Serum Concealer. Oh my god, it actually gave my under eyes such a nice little glow. I'm not mad at that. I'm just gonna take this little concealer brush. This is my JH08 and just very lightly blend that out quickly. So before I go on to the eyes, I do sort of wanna do a little bit of bronzing and contouring, and then I'll do blush highlighter after I do the eyes. So let's see what we can do for bronzer. I'm going to take my bronzer brush. This is my MAC 150, and I'm going to take the shade Riff. The shade Riff is not a terrible bronzing color. It's a little bit too warm, but I think I'll be able to make it work. The hardest thing with these types of videos, using eyeshadows as a powder, is the small pan size. Like, I don't wanna hit Wanderlust and get green on my cheeks. That's just not gonna be cute. So I gotta be really careful that I only hit Riff, so I'm like just being very precise. And now let's see how this is gonna be for a bronzer. It's gonna be a little bit too warm, but not bad at all. That was my only concern, but it actually doesn't look too shabby. I'm just gonna put some on my temples, on my jawline, on my cheekbones, everywhere I would normally bronze to warm up my face. Oh my god, not bad. Always surprising when something works out. Okay, now I'm going to contour a little bit. So I'm gonna take this smaller brush from Real Techniques. This is the contour brush. Okay, I'm gonna take Good As Gone. Good As Gone is a really nice cool toned color. The only thing with this color is that it does have a little bit of shimmer in it, but the shimmer is really not that intense or too sparkly, so I feel like it could still work as long as I use a very small amount. And if I buff it enough, I feel like the shimmer will sort of buff away, but since it's not like a very sparkly color. I'm gonna actually just pick up a lot on my brush so you can see there's quite a bit there. And then I'm gonna dab off most of it. And then I'm gonna take whatever tiny bit is left over and start to contour. It's working! The trick really for this color is to just take off most of it and then just use whatever teeny tiny bit is left over on the brush and use that to contour. And I feel like that works beautifully. Nice little natural shadow. Do you see those like cheekbones popping? Okay. So for my eye look today, I've played with this palette quite a lot on my channel. Actually, I've played with these colors over here, which are like the ones that everybody loves. I've played with the green, I've played with the blue. So there's only one color left. I mean, not really, but there's one color here that really stands out, and that's Guilt Trip, which is that purple. So I'm gonna start off first with the shade Riff, which is that warm brown that we used as my bronzer. And I'm gonna take this on my Smith 225 brush. I'm gonna use this as my transition shade today. So I'm just gonna very lightly buff this right above the crease. You guys know I like to do this. I usually like to go in very lightly first, and then I will go in a little bit heavier directly into my crease. And it just creates a really nice blend using the same color. So you can see that just adds some nice depth, but it blends really nicely outwards because we apply the same color just with a lighter hand. Okay, now I'm gonna go into the shade Punk. One of my favorites from the palette. Is gorgeous, like deep, dark, brownish, purpley red. And I'm gonna put this into the crease. And a little bit on the outer corner as well. Now that we have a nice little smoky haze going on, I'm gonna go into Guilt Trip, which is that purple, and I'm going to take it on my finger first. Oof, so nice. I haven't used this color yet from the palette, so I'm really excited to see what it looks like, and it's beautiful. Okay. So really nice, just like metallic purple, classic Urban Decay, always gotta have a metallic purple. And then I'm gonna take my blending brush and I'm gonna start to buff along the edges of that purple just to make sure that it's melted nicely into the other shades that we have on the lid and it's not just like sitting there disconnected. So this is a really nice simple eye look, super easy to do, but I think really like impactful because of that purple shade. It's really pretty. So now we're gonna apply some eyeliner with the eyeshadow. I'm sure a lot of you guys already know this little trick, but if you are using some sort of powder and you want it to be very, very sharp on the outer corner, this doesn't just apply to eyeliner. This could also apply to applying your eyeshadow in general. You can make it really sharp. So you could just take a little like credit card or some sort of membership card, anything that is plastic and has a straight edge, and you just line it up on the outside of your eye. You keep it there and you apply the product while this is there. So today I'm specifically using my Costco membership card. This is not the first time that I've used my Costco membership card for this specific method. And I actually once went to Costco and I realized as soon as I walked into the store that I had left my Costco membership card sitting on my vanity, so I couldn't shop at Costco. It was a very upsetting day. So I'm going to take the shade Jet, which is the shimmery-ish black. And now I'm just basically running this along the edge of the card and towards my lash line to create like a smoky wing. And then when you remove it, look how nice and sharp that is. So now for my lower lash line, I want to do something a little bit brighter. So I'm gonna take the shade Hell Ride, which is this bright pink. I think this could look really gorgeous in combination with Guilt Trip. It'll add a little bit of a different vibe. And I'm gonna just smoke this on my lower lash line with the same shader brush. I already wiped it off. There's no black on here. Oh my God, look how pretty that looks. By the way, another tip that I have for you guys, if you want to create like a really like inky liquid eyeliner type thing with a powder, all you got to do is just mix a little bit of powder with a mixing medium. Unfortunately, I don't have a mixing medium here with me, so I'm not able to do that. But if you are somebody who, you know, wants to be able to play with more colors as liners and you want to use your eyeshadows as that, then purchasing a mixing medium is a really great way to achieve that. You could also take a little bit of MAC Fix Plus, which is what I'm going to do right now. And I'm just going to take this little angle brush and spritz it so it's nice and damp. Because the brush is now a little bit damp, it's going to make the color apply a little bit more opaque. So as you can see right over there, it creates sort of like a liner-esque formula, but using a mixing medium really is the best way to go for something like that. And I'm just going to use this to press along my lash line, and this is just going to create a little bit more depth. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna wet my brush very slightly with the MAC Fix Plus, and I'm gonna pick up the same shade that I applied on my lower lash line, and I'm gonna use this as an eyeliner on my waterline. This is not something I would recommend to everybody. If you have sensitive eyes, if you wear contacts, don't do this because you're gonna get powder in your eyes. Me personally, I've done this before. It doesn't bother me. I'll often actually put powder on my waterline, especially if I'm wearing black and I don't want it to bleed. I'll put a black powder in that area to sort of set it down. But, you know, if you have sensitive eyes, then don't do it because your eyes are gonna hate you for it. But it works. Okay, eyes are pretty much done. I'm just gonna go off camera, apply some mascara, and then I'll be back and we're gonna finish off the rest of the face, which is gonna be so much fun. Let's do blush. Might as well get that out of the way. I'm going to put Still Shot on the majority of my cheeks, and then I'm gonna take Wild Heart and put that like the teeniest amount just on the apples. So I'm going to just take my Bobbi Brown blush brush, pick up some Still Shot, which is a pretty, you know, easy go-to blush color. And I'm just going to pop that on the cheeks. Oh my God, that's actually really pretty. Can they make a big version of this, please? Because I like it a lot. Now I'm gonna go into Wild Heart, which is that really insane color right over there. It has a little bit of like a sheen to it as well. So I'm gonna pick it up on my brush, and just like the other ones, I'm gonna dab off most of it so that it's not too intense and just sort of, okay, we're gonna fix that. Put a little bit on the apples of the cheeks. Should have dabbed off more. Oh, yep, okay. Gonna take my foundation brush to try and fix this. This works. You just sort of gotta, you know, make sure that you dab off a lot of it. But here, now, look, now that it's blended in, it's looking good. It added a nice little pop, rosy pop on the cheeks, and I feel like it ties in the eyes nicely. I like this look, you guys. I'm excited. Now I'm gonna do a highlighter. So I'm taking my Anastasia A23 brush, which is my favorite highlighter brush. I think I'm gonna take the shade Standard, which is this one right over here. It's a stunning like gold, and it has a really nice like reflex to it. I think it'll be stunning as a highlighter. So I'm going to just take a very small amount because this is a pretty intense color. Tap off the excess again, And let's just pop that right on the tops of the cheekbones. I use eyeshadows as highlighters all the time. This is really nothing too new for me. It's a really great way to just get some more use out of your beautiful, glowy eyeshadow products. One of my favorite highlighters actually is an eyeshadow, and it's the Marc Jacobs Omega eyeshadow in the shade Primo. It's like the most stunning. It's so freaking gorgeous. Okay, now for my brows. This is gonna be pretty straightforward. I'm just gonna take this little angle brush from Smith. It's the 203, and I think for my brows today, I'm gonna take the shade Dead As Gone. Sorry, no, that's not what it's called. Good As Gone, which is that cool tone brown over here. That's the only shade really that will match my brows in this palette. Like I said, this does have a little bit of shimmer to it, which is not a terrible thing. Actually, a lot of brow products have shimmer in them. I'm not really sure why, to be honest with you, but they do. And somehow it just works. Wow, that color actually matches my brows sort of perfectly. Powder on brows is nothing new or crazy. I use powder all the time on my brows, like on an everyday basis, so this should work out just fine. I'm just like lightly feathering it in, and whatever's left over my brush is what I'm putting in the front of my brow, and I'm putting the majority of the color towards the end. If you are using powder though, I do recommend definitely setting your brows with a clear brow gel to really just lock everything in place, because powder is really beautiful. It's very, very soft, but it's not very long wearing. So putting in a nice like sticky brow gel, honestly, is gonna really lock it in, and it's almost like hairspray for your brows. Guys, we're almost done. Time for the lip. I almost wanna put Punk on my lips, which is the dark color. I think that could look really cool, and it's a little bit different. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm gonna take my little angle brush, and I'm going to take Punk, which is that matte purpley brown, and I'm going to first line my lips with this. My brush is still slightly damp, by the way, which is gonna be helpful. That works. So I'm just gonna take this flat shader from MAC, and I'm just gonna press it. I do have like a little bit of leftover lip balm on my lips, which is helpful. It's gonna make the product adhere a little bit better. But I'm really gonna like rub it in. Okay, so here is what the final look looks like. I actually love the way this looks. I think it's so fun and fall-like. Powder on the lips works. It's just, you know, not the most practical. It's not like I want to carry around my giant palette to like touch it up throughout the day, but it works if you're in a pinch. Like I said, you could literally take any powder and just like, whoop, smack it on your lips, and it works as a lipstick. Let me know if you guys have any dupes for this color in mind. Let me know in the comments. And here is a close-up of the skin. Ooh, that highlight's pretty. The eyes and the lip. So guys, that's it for today's video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. That was honestly so much fun for me to do. I would really love to continue to do these videos and make it sort of like a series on my channel, just to sort of challenge myself to create a full look using only one palette, especially if you guys enjoy it. Let me know down below, and you could also just let me know by clicking the thumbs up button. So guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Like I said, I really did have a blast doing this, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.